All right, today we are diving deep into a cosmic mystery that is just mind-bending. It's a story that stretches across centuries and really makes you question what it means to be lost and what it means to be found. Welcome to the story of the Concordes Catastrophe.
So, let's just jump right into the heart of it. Picture this, a top-of-the-line starship, the Geosphere 7, is out on a 10-year mission. But then, years ahead of schedule, it just shows back up at home base. It's in perfect, pristine condition, but it's completely empty. Every last crew member just gone, vanished. So the big question is, where in the universe did they go?
And for centuries, that was the official story. An insoluble loss. The mission logs, the ship's black box, all wiped clean for the most critical years of its journey. It became this ghost story, a legend whispered in the corridors of galactic command. But the actual truth? Oh, it is so much weirder than anyone could have possibly imagined.
To really get what happened, we've got to hit rewind. We need to go all the way back to the beginning of the mission, a journey to a little, noisy planet in the Sol system that we call Earth.
Okay, so this whole mission was approved by the Concordes. You can kind of think of them as a galactic UN made up of 700 super advanced civilizations. And their main job is to be guardians. They watch over younger worlds, especially during this tricky period they call the gauntlet phase. That moment when a planet's tech is advanced enough to be noticed by the cosmos, but not nearly strong enough to defend itself from whatever's out there.
So here's the thing. The mission itself was surprisingly straightforward. It was a 10-year observation gig. Travel for 3 years, spend another 3 getting into position, and then 4 years just assessing humanity's progress. And the number one rule? Don't get seen. Simple, right? What could possibly go wrong?
And leading this whole thing were two of the absolute best. You had Captain Vin Dartma, a seasoned pro on his final mission, famous for his gut instincts. And then you had his second-in-command, Mira Dineb. She was an analyst so persistent, so incredibly logical, that no anomaly, no matter how small, could ever slip past her. And that one personality trait, well, as you're about to see, that changes everything.
The trip to Earth was supposed to be a long, quiet, 3-year haul through the void. But as it turned out, the ship didn't exactly arrive alone.
And right away, we get the first sign of trouble. But get this, it's not from outside the ship. It's from within. During a pirate attack, the ship suddenly unleashes this powerful, classified defense system that even Captain Vin had no idea existed. And this just created this massive tension between his whole philosophy of transparency and the Concorde's love of keeping secrets.
This timeline really lays it all out. Year 1, you've got that pirate attack creating friction on the bridge. Then, year 2, they fly through this bizarre cosmic thing called a siren that causes crazy hallucinations. But look at year 3. This is the absolute key. A tiny, non-physical piece of that siren consciousness latches onto the ship's hull. It's a stowaway, and nobody, not a single person on board, has any clue it's there.
So, now we get to the tipping point, the exact moment where one person's refusal to let go of a tiny little inconsistency completely unravels the entire mission.
So let's set the scene. Captain Vin and his team are planetside, setting up a secret outpost deep inside the lava tubes of an Arctic island. And way up in orbit, 2 million miles away, Mira Dineb is at her post, sifting through the absolute chaos of Earth's radio signals.
And in all of that static, all that noise, she finds something. A 19th thread. A signal so faint, so thin, it was basically invisible. But here's the thing. Unlike all the messy, chaotic human broadcasts, this one had structure. It was intelligent. And it was just plain wrong. It shouldn't have been there. Her brain just kicks into overdrive. First, she isolates the signal to study it more closely. But then, something impossible happens. Some unseen, immensely powerful force reaches out across space and just surgically scrubs the signal from her sensors, like it never even existed. Now, for anyone else, that would be the end of it, right? But for Mira, oh no, that was a declaration of war. She starts this obsessive hunt deep in the ship's core memory, looking for the digital ghost of that erased signal.
And that hunt, that's what finally gets their attention. The attention of the real puppet masters of this whole story. A group so powerful and so secret, the Concordes didn't even know they were real.
Because from the very moment they entered the Sol system, the crew of the Geosphere 7 was being watched. They were being watched by beings called the Phoenixes. And to call them a civilization doesn't even do them justice. These entities were so far beyond the Concordance they were practically gods. They totally mastered the manipulation of matter itself. Starships were just quaint little toys to them. Their ships were the actual corridors of space-time they traveled through.
And this really gets to the core of the problem for the Phoenixes. On one hand, you've got this little stowaway on the ship's hull, which turns out to be a piece of their own ancient ancestors, and on the other hand, you've got Mira, who is digging so deep into their private signal that she's about to blow their cover to the entire galaxy. So what do? They couldn't just destroy the ship and kill her ancestor, so they chose the only other option they had: absolute containment.
This is that moment of dawning horror. When Mira and the crew finally put it all together, they realize they haven't just found a secret, they've trespassed. They kicked in the door to the home of a power so immense they can't possibly comprehend it, let alone fight back. Which brings us to the main event itself. What exactly was the Concordes Catastrophe? It wasn't a battle. It wasn't an explosion. It was, for all intents and purposes, a magic trick, a vanishing act on a cosmic scale. To protect their secrets, the Phoenixes didn't destroy the Geosphere 7. No, what they did was so much more elegant and terrifying. They simply picked it up, the ship, the crew, the whole shebang, and moved it. Imagine, you're on the bridge in those final seconds. An indescribable wave of energy washes over the ship, and the stars outside your window just blink out, gone. All your navigation systems flatline. You are, quite literally, nowhere. And then, out of the black, an impossible artificial planet appears in a starless sky. They were stranded, yes, but they were alive. Prisoners in a custom-built world at the very edge of reality.
And this brings us right back to the beginning. The Phoenixes sent the empty ship home with its logs wiped, creating the official story, the insoluble loss. But the hidden truth, the crew, Captain Vin, Mira, all of them, they survived. They adapted. They built a new hybrid civilization on that artificial world, and they stayed hidden from their own people for 500 years.
So the Concordes Catastrophe wasn't an ending at all. It was a beginning, a secret one, hidden by a power they never knew existed. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other cosmic mysteries, all those stories of lost ships and vanished crews, aren't really tragedies at all? Maybe they're just secrets, waiting for the right person to pull on one single, tiny, loose thread.